Hey y'all, it's Sarah. Welcome back to my channel. So today I read my victim impact statement and it was so exciting. I was so glad to get it over with. And before I want to start, I just want to say that they literally said that it was one of the most powerful statements that they've ever heard. Like, they've never heard a statement that powerful before, and I was like, whoa, that's a big deal. And a lady came up to me and she said that she was waiting on her niece to have their court, and so she just came in to watch ours, and she said that it was like so powerful and that I need to continue to share my story. So I'm gonna be doing that. I'm gonna try and do public speakings and stuff. I think this lady is going to share my story with people in San Antonio when she has a business thing. Not really sure how it works, but yeah. So lots of my friends wanted to go to the court date, but they couldn't, or some of my family couldn't make it, so I just want to share this. Hello, my name is Sarah Salas. Today I'm going to share some statistics and how this very tragic and inappropriate event has impacted my life tremendously. Every 92 seconds, an American is sexually abused. Think about that. In only 1 minute and 32 seconds, a girl or a guy has to go through what I went through. 1 in 6 women who are American have been in a situation where someone has tried to sexually abuse them, or they already have been sexually abused. 1 in 33 American men have also had someone who has attempted to sexually abuse them, or they already have been sexually abused. 94% of women who have been in any kind of sexual abuse have had PTSD, which is a disorder. This disorder is when a person is having a hard time recovering from a dramatic time in their life. It can bring bad flashbacks of the tragic events. People can have very drastic reactions to the flashbacks. 33% of women have committed suicide after being sexually abused, and that right there shatters my heart. People who have been sexually abused are more likely to use drugs. Sometimes they feel alone and can go down the wrong path. They are 3.4 times more likely to use marijuana and 3.6 times more likely to use cocaine. 38% of people who have been through sexual violence can have a struggle focusing, which can make it hard to get along with coworkers at work or their peers at school. 63% of sexual abuse is not reported, and that percentage is way too high. When I was sexually abused, they told us these cases get put on the back burner. That 63% is either scared no one will believe them, trying to protect someone, or just afraid of the outcomes. But today, and even years from now, I'm going to try and change the percentages and increase the number of child survivors who have let the authorities know and shared their story. 98% of child abuse cases reported to officials says children's statements were found to be true. So why aren't more precautions taken and harder punishments coming? Because people aren't learning their rights from wrongs. I've always been told my whole life every action deserves a consequence, whether good or bad. I'd get in trouble for the littlest things like drinking or eating in my room or making a B on my report card. But they're letting grown men and women roam free once they do something wrong. And it's not a small thing like making a B on a report card. It's huge. It's scarring people for life. I've lived my life in fear for 1,035 days. He just roams free, and how am I supposed to know he wouldn't do it again if I wasn't even expecting it the first time? Or the other times. No one expects it the first time. It could be the person you would least expect it to be. I thought this could only happen to people that didn't have the best life, but my life was pretty close to perfect. Or my mom made sure of it at least, and she tried her very best. We had talks about good touch, bad touch, but I didn't think those conversations were really necessary until now. My mom made us eat dinner together. Sometimes we had serious family discussions, other times it was quiet, but most of the time we were laughing, cutting up, having a great time. No family is perfect, but mine was definitely close to it. We had our ups and downs, but forgiving one another was a big part of our family. We had a bunch of memories, but day by day it's harder to remember the memories. October 30th, 2016, I wanted to throw my insides up and crawl out of my own skin. The person I looked up to most betrayed me and lied to me for almost 11 years. I felt so dirty and ashamed of myself because I thought it was my fault. I got a rag and scrubbed myself so hard it left burns and rashes on my body. I looked in the mirror every day and cried. I was absolutely disgusting. I had to start being more mature because this was a very dramatic event. I had to realize at such a young age what the world was really like. I had to realize how evil the world could really be. I had to grow up faster than most girls did at my age. I thought the world was all fun and games. This event has changed my whole perspective on what I thought life was. I thought life would be easy. Even after this event, I thought life would be easy. I was wrong. I lost friends that had been there for me since pre-K because I was so worried about protecting you. I didn't want to hurt you, so I covered for you. But when you intentionally did it again and again, I felt guilty, alone, isolated, and ashamed. How did you think this was okay? My heart will always ache because of this. I lost the only people I actually had because I was trying to protect someone who never cared about me and had zero sympathy for me. You disrespected me in one of the worst ways possible. It made me so sad hearing your name even if they weren't talking about you. I was angry. Were you never taught to not disrespect women? This event has made an impact on my trust. It's hard to trust people. I'm constantly questioning the things people say to me. It's made it so hard for me because if I couldn't even trust my own dad, how can I trust people I don't even know? I've realized I can't believe everything everyone is telling me. In the dictionary, it says the word molester is a person who sexually assaults or abuses someone, especially a woman or a child. Number 2, a person who pesters or harasses someone in an aggressive or persistent manner. In definition 1, it has keywords sexual assault and abuses. Definition 2 says harasses, aggressive, and persistent. Persistent means continuing firmly. The synonym for persistent is never ending. This definition haunts me because it reminds me of you. It reminds me that this will never end, but the words determined, persevering, and patient help me understand that I can make this horror turn into glory. The hurt will never stop. We get hurt a million more times, but you have to be strong and grow from it. You can't let the bad things that happen to you stay stuck in your head forever, or you won't grow in life. Yes, you'll never forget these kind of events, as sad as it is, but instead of making all the negatives about the situation, make more positives. You just can't live life with negative thoughts. I tried and I wasn't myself. I've lost so many people I've loved due to this accident. That's probably what has hurt me the most throughout the situation. When this happened, lots of my friends didn't understand. We were all pretty young. I don't really think I even understood myself. I thought it was my fault. They thought it was my fault. They switched the story, and I tried explaining to them what really happened, but it got worse. So I had to start shutting people out. I didn't want to, but that started to look like my only option. I started eating lunch by myself and distancing myself from the people I used to hang out with. I got judged for something I really couldn't control. Extremely inappropriate rumors started, and I got anonymous messages slut-shaming me. Other people would text me and said that this was just a crave for attention, or this was my fault. Due to bullying, I've had to delete social media way too many times. Since this situation, me and some of my own family will never have the same relationship I once did with them. This event has made me think of things that I never once thought was an option. Suicide came to my mind a lot. I don't ever think I'd bring myself to that conclusion, but the thought weighed heavily on my heart. It was always in the back of my brain until one day I was reading a poetry book called Amid Thirsty Vines by Alpha. The writer said, recovery happens day by day, and you'll have setbacks along the way. Life happens, and stress makes you revert back to old habits. You will momentarily feel empty, and sometimes you will feel like turning around one step in the wrong direction. Yesterday. But you are stronger now, and it has become easier to say no. It has taken a lot of struggle to get you to today, and you will not trade any amount of yesterday for today. This piece of poetry is when my life started to make sense. Toby, I'm 10 times more stronger than you will ever be. I'm looking at you now, and you look completely different. Your mask has fallen off, and what I mean by mask is the real you. You apparently weren't the sweet, funny, freckle-faced redhead you opposed to be. You ripped your own mask off when you sexually abused me, but sadly my mask was ripped off. I didn't necessarily have two personalities, but you ripped my happiness away for some time. I wasn't myself for months, but now I'm stronger than I've ever been. Of course I've had bad days, but everyone else does too. I cry myself to sleep often, but there's nothing wrong with that. It's good to get all the sadness and anger out. I don't really cry anymore because I'm sad. I cry because I'm angry. I've cried myself to sleep at least one day out of the week ever since October 30th, 2016. In the beginning of this process, I was just sad and confused. And into the beginning of the second year of trying to get justice, I was in so much anger. I was angry at every person who told me I was stupid for putting myself out there and sharing my story. I was angry at the people who said this was just a cry for attention, but most importantly, I was angry at you. I was angry at the fact on how poorly you treated me. It was very hard to do the things I would normally do. It was hard to play softball, basketball. It was even hard riding a four-wheeler or swimming in a lake, as dumb as that sounds. But it's because everything I used to do always involved you. Just sitting in my room broke me. Sitting in that room still breaks me. I lay there in silence, not because I felt pleasured with the thought of a 30-year-old man touching me in places no little girl wants to be touched, but because you were my stepdad. But it was different. I actually called you my dad because I thought you were stepping up to the plate because my real dad couldn't. Who knew? 10 perfect years with you could leave the rest of my life a living nightmare. It's sad how you give someone your whole heart and in return they betray, destroy, and crumble you into a million pieces. I grew up with such strict rules, but you only had 2. Support the family, and my mom should have never had to tell you the second one. But here we are. The second rule. Never touch our children in an inappropriate way. No mother should have to tell their husband this because they should have grown up knowing this was wrong. We had great memories, but now all they do is scare me because I didn't realize who I was looking up to. I didn't realize the friendly person I call my dad could be capable of doing this. I was just a little girl, and I still consider myself one today. How could you do this? That thought runs through my head constantly. You say you were drunk, but a drunk man wouldn't come into my room 3 different times before sexually abusing me and ask if I was awake. If the case was that you were drunk, which I doubt it was, but why did you keep drinking? Because then you sexually abused me again and again. At that point, God was out of my life, and I was afraid for you to be in it. It was nerve-wracking every time stepping my foot in that door, and you were sitting there like you were waiting for me. I might have grown my whole life with you, but if someone asked me for signs on how to know if someone is capable of doing this, I wouldn't be able to answer. You didn't seem capable of doing this. You didn't seem like that kind of person. I'm not here for you, I'm here for me. This isn't even to get you in trouble or have you in prison for years. This is for me to let people know they have a voice and so I can actually be myself again. So I won't wake up at 3 a.m. startled because I had a nightmare about you. So I can make it through a whole day of school without getting too sick to focus in class because I thought about you. I'm here to get justice. I could have kept quiet, but girls and even guys need to know that this is wrong and every action deserves a consequence. I hope you understand this too, Toby. You made a terrible choice, and look at the consequence, not for you, but for everyone else. Look at all the people in this room that you have hurt. I pray for you night and day. Some are always great ones. Sometimes I pray to never see you again. Other days I pray for forgiveness. I remember sitting down with the DA. She asked, what do we feel like justice would be? I hear my mom whisper in my ear and say, it's up to you. I remember staring blankly at the table, not knowing what to say to her. I looked back at her, wondering why the question was so hard to answer. It was because I still felt guilty. I remember keeping up with the story for quite some time. Larry Nassar was a former doctor at Michigan State University. Larry sexually abused more than 200 girls. I remember getting told I could share my story, so I looked up a bunch of testimonies for inspiration. One in particular caught my eye. Her name was E, and she could have possibly been the last person Larry Nassar would have ever sexually abused. I looked her up on Instagram and asked her if she could give me any advice. She told me, never once think that any of this was my fault. Never take the blame for this. She told me to stay calm and be myself. AR, another survivor from Larry Nassar, said, abusers, your time is up. The survivors are here, standing tall, and we are not going anywhere. Toby, your time is up. While you've been living life freely, I've been living life in slow motion. I don't think I'll live freely. If there's one thing the situation has taught me, it's that I need to be aware of my surroundings. If my own father could do it to me, then other people I don't even know in public could too. I don't walk anywhere by myself in big public places. I always want a friend to walk with me to the restroom, even if I've been to that place a million times. Just to be safe. I can't live as free as I once did, but I'm just taking more precautions. I started doing this when I was 10. Guess what 10-year-olds are supposed to do at 10 years old? They're supposed to have sleepovers with friends, staying up till 8 p.m., waiting for the newest Disney Channel show to come out. But you want to know what I did? I had to know what sexual really was at 10 years old. No 10-year-old should have known the things I had to know at 10 years old. I had so much fear, not just from you, but from other males as well. I dropped all my very close guy friends, and I was even distant with most of the males in my family. Not because I didn't trust them, I just didn't feel like being around guys. It's sad how you ripped my most favorite memories away from me. I can't even walk into my old school remembering all the good memories just because of one bad one. And one day, my family shattered in that school. I got called to the counselor's office. I see the counselor who's been there for me through all of my mental breakdowns, my brother who is my bestest friend and the one who stuck up for me when no one was on my side, my Aunt Kathy, the one who has never once let me down throughout the situation, and my mom, my number one supporter and the one I look up to most. I open the door to the counselor's office. It's silent. I look at my brother. I remember the first night I got assaulted, I made a plan to tell my brother first, but I couldn't, and to this day I still feel bad for lying to everyone. I was pretending to be okay when I really wasn't. I feel bad for letting someone lie to the family for so long. I feel bad for risking other girls just because I felt ashamed of myself, but I'm not as naive as I once was. I know not to believe everyone. I know that anyone can turn their back on you at any given moment. But that is why I've learned to forgive. A year ago, I would have made myself sick if I forgave you. But now if I left this courtroom without you knowing that I'm forgiving you, I think I would feel so sick I wouldn't want to leave my room, which sucks. I should have the right to hate you, but I don't have enough room in my heart to do that. I also do know everyone makes mistakes. Yours was a more stupid one. I never want you back in my life again. It hurts me saying that because I'm such a caring person, but I need to let go of this negative vibe. You had 2 years to think about what you did. I've had to wonder for 2 years why you did what you did. So Toby, why? And if you dare say it's because you were drunk, I might crumble on the inside. If you were drunk, you should have stopped with the alcohol, but obviously you didn't love me enough because you chose alcohol over me. I'm forgiving you. It could take me years, or maybe this is what I need to ease my pain, but I want to say thank you for letting me realize how many girls are going through the same situation and giving me the opportunity to help them. Toby, I realize you took a plea bargain. You pleaded guilty to the first assault that took place on October 30th, 2016. But what about the other times? The time you made me rub your back and you started rubbing me in a very inappropriate place? Or the time I was in the same bed as you and you stuck your hand in the back of my pants? You've made me suffer so much and you can't have enough respect to tell the truth. Wow, that's disgusting. I shouldn't have known how many girls and guys went through this. I shouldn't even have to write a letter like this. No 13-year-old girl should have to write a letter like this. No girl in general should have to write a letter like this. As I wrote this letter, my heart sank. Percentages for girls and guys getting sexually abused are so high, and most people don't even tell anyone. Percentages would be even higher. That hurts me, but I feel for the girls and guys too, because I was once silent too. I felt so alone and it sucks. I can't help every person who is being silent. Us people need to let abusers know we have respect for ourselves and that people cannot treat us like we're trash. We have to start sticking up for ourselves. Instead of being quiet, we can't keep letting this happen in the world. We've got to be strong and we've got to start thinking about ourselves. We have to set boundaries and say no when we really don't want it. We are not victims. Every single person has been through pain in this room. Maybe not from the same things, but we all have discovered heartbreak and hurting. But break the silence, find your voice. You deserve to be heard no matter what your story is. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. This is something that I've been really wanting to do for a few years now. I'm going to start trying to speak out and volunteer and do other things to help people. This is something that I think people should, this is something really important to me. I don't want to be silent. I know that God made a purpose for me on this earth, and this is why this happened. God didn't let me get sexually abused for nothing. He did this because I have a mission, and my mission is to help other people and reach other people. This is not the last thing. This might be over with him, but this is not the last thing I will be doing. I'm going to start trying to speak up at places, like publicly speaking. I'm going to try and get my story out there to help people. I'm going to try and volunteer at places. And yeah, so this is not the last of me, y'all. I'm just getting started. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Bye!